welcome to today's episode of The Young and the Restless. We open up at Newman office and we see that it's all a mess in the room with Vic and Nate as they push everything off the table and they continue to make out. Then we see Mariah arrives at the coffee house and she greets Sharon and they talk about the baby. Then we move over to the Abbott house and we see Nick brings home Summer and they are there talking about how he can help to comfort her. And she wonders how long she is gonna wait to hear from Carl. And she thinks that Diane is his top priority, so he will not be contacting her anytime soon. But then Carl walks in and says that's not true. Then we go over to society and we see Jack meets with Christine and they discuss Diane's arrest, but Christine expressed that she can't discuss anything with Jack. But Jack tells her to investigate Stark, not Diane. Then we go over to the motel and we see Phyllis is there stressed and broken and in regret and she says, "What have I done?" Then we go back to society and Christine says that there is irrefutable facts as to why they arrested Diane as a murderer. But Jack says that he is scared and asks Christine to slow it down on the investigation and not rush to judgment. Christine assures him that the case is still open and he tells her to focus on Stark, and Christine says that she can only follow protocol. Back at the Abbott house, Summer is shocked that Kyle is home so soon. Then Nick decides that he should leave, but Summer asks him before he leaves. Summer asks Kyle for an update before Nick leaves on the case, but Kyle doesn't have any update and Nick leaves. Then we go back to the coffee house and Sharon asks Mariah for Tessa and the baby. And she tells her that she's gonna text Tessa to bring the baby in. And then we see Tessa and the baby arrives and we see Sally's on the balcony watching from a distance as Sharon meets her grandbaby. Then we go back to the office and we see Vic and Nick continue to make out. And we see Nick walks in off the elevator and sees Audra there listening. But Audra tries to at first get rid of Nick, but then she directs Nick to Vic's office to go in there. But Nick says he has to go to his office first before he goes to Vic. We go back to the coffee house and Adam comes and sees Sally watching Mariah, Sharon, Tessa and the baby, and then they discuss what life's gonna be like when she becomes a new mom and the baby arrives, and Adam calls it a magical moment. That's how he felt. And Sally wants to go in and meet the baby. Sally goes over and asks Mariah and Tessa if she can take a peek at the baby, and they allow her. And she then asks them how does it feel, and they said that it's a miracle and a dream. Back at the Abbott house, Kyle asks Summer how she is doing, and Summer says that she is exhausted but it was worth it. Summer thanks Kyle for standing by her. Then she brings up Diane's arrest and Kyle believes that she is not the murderer, and Summer asks Kyle if he really thinks that. Then we go back to the motel and we see Jeremy come in and ask Phyllis where has she been, and she was supposed to be out of the country by now. Back at society, Jack tells Christine that Diane is the only back in town for the family. She would never jeopardize her freedom. Christine tells him to prepare for the arraignment tomorrow, and there's a possibility that she might not get out considering Diane's history of fleeing. Jack says what Jeremy did will come to light, and he isn't that good at what he does. Then we go back to the motel and we see Phyllis tells Jeremy that she is allowed to change her mind, and Jeremy yells that she shouldn't have attended the memorial and she should get out of town. Phyllis wants to take the pain away from her kids, so So she wants to go to them and tell her she's alive and says that they will forgive her. They forgave Diane. Back at the Abbott house, Summer doesn't buy that Jeremy acts alone and she thinks Diane is involved. Summer says that she believes that Diane is the reason her mom is dead. We then see Nick knocks on the door at Newman and he realizes that the door is both locked. Then we see Vic and Nick hurriedly put on their clothes and then Vic goes over to let Nate in. Then Victoria tries to discuss the memorial. Then Nate decides that he should leave. After Nate leaves, Nick asks Vic what is she thinking with her and Nate. Back at the coffee house, Alana then comes and meets Tessa and Maria's baby. And Tessa thanks her for her help, advice, and support, and they hug. Then we go back to Newman, and Nick says that he sees the lipstick on Nate's neck and her hair is off. So obviously something was going on. Nick then tells her that she is making a terrible mistake, sleeping with someone who's an executive, and says that Nate is probably looking for personal gains to climb up the ladder. And then Nick brings up Ashlyn, the way Ashlyn used Vic. This gets Victoria mad and she gets ridiculous. Vic calls out Nick's hypocrisy because he was also sleeping with Sally while she was the head of Newman Media, and she tells Nick to stay out of her life and get out of her office. Back at the Abbott house, Kyle decides to defend his mother, and Summer isn't here for it, and says that their mom brings out the worst in each other, and Kyle still tries to defend Diane, and Summer brings up the night of the gala where Diane tried to kill Phyllis, and Summer tells Kyle to open his eyes. Back at the motel, Jeremy tells Phyllis not to think for a second that she could go back, and she says that they forgave Diane, so she's going back. Phyllis says that her kids are in pain, and Jeremy tells Phyllis that he won't allow her to do that and mess things up. He threatens Phyllis, and then Phyllis yells and says that she is not scared of him. He doesn't know who he's playing with. Back at the Abbott house, Kyle swears for his mother and says that Diane isn't capable of murder and begs Summers to keep an open mind. Summer says that they need to come up with a cover story to tell Harrison. Then we go back to Society, and we see Nick tracks down Nate at Society. Nick claims that he doesn't care about the personal life. He just wants to ensure that there is no agenda from Nate when it comes to Newman. He discusses Nate trying to climb up the ladder at Chancellor Winters and asks if he's doing the same. Nate gets pissed and he's had enough of people trying to accuse him of stuff, but right as he was about to cuss out Nick, Alana walks into the conversation. Then we go back to the coffee house and Sally and Adam sit aside and talk about the baby. Sally is happy to find out the gender at the next appointment. Then we go back to Society and Nate tells Alana that Nick thinks that he is consumed with power, and Nick says that the truth hurts and leaves. Then we go back to the Abbott house and Jack returns home and says that there is no progress with Christine. Kyle rants that Summer is locked into the idea that Diane had something to do with Phyllis's death. Kyle questions how he will survive this moment because he is caught in between his mother and his wife, and he may have to choose one side, and it may affect his marriage long term, and he's not sure it will survive it. But they decide to uncover the truth together. Then we go back to the motel, and Phyllis then threatens Stark that she is not afraid of him, and he should get out of her way. Stark grabs her and tells her that she is dead to the world, so she should keep it that way, or he will kill her himself. Thanks for watching. Bye.